think if we look at surveillance technology and devices that are used across the country, I mean, let's be honest, we know that typically Black and brown people and poor and white folks are disproportionately impacted. And I think a lot of the narrative or the argument to justify that would be the crime stats, right? In certain wards, neighborhoods, communities. And so, again, as I said earlier, it is critically important that we be preventive instead of reactionary. And I think that's what this policy does by allowing that community voice to be at the front and to be center and to hold folks accountable, quite honestly. I think this policy not only is a protection for civilians, but also for law enforcement agents as well.
Most cities, most municipalities in America, in the US, do not have a policy like this or an ordinance that governs surveillance technology and use of it. Good example, you look at Detroit, Michigan. They're currently advocates for trying to get something like this done. They don't have anything on the books. Chicago, same thing. And then cities that do have this kind of policy typically rarely ever mention explicitly race and any data related to race. For instance, like I mentioned, the complaints about the surveillance use being broken down by race. You look at New York City, they don't have that within their policy that was enacted this year, their ordinance related to surveillance use. And so this is definitely a bellwether policy for other municipalities that I believe you will see other cities using going forward as a model.
The process that we went through is an example of the power of working in partnership with community. The community coming together with city staff and policymakers for the benefit of everyone in the city. We all love this community, and we have more that bring us together than tear us apart.
We had to ask, were we doing everything we could to be transparent? Because the goal of our police department is ultimately to build trust with our community. In order to do that, you have to have a high level of transparency and accountability.